NBC 7 News at 4 starts now.
A dramatic change of plea in a downtown San Diego courtroom. The man accused of the 2019 Poway synagogue shooting now admits he's guilty. One person was killed, 3 others were wounded, including a rabbi inside the synagogue. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. I'm Monica Dean.
I'm Mark Mullen. Catherine has a day off. NBC 7's Artie Ojeda was in court this morning. He joins us now from the synagogue in Poway with details in this case. Another chapter today. Artie.
Mark and Monica, as you can imagine, this is a somber, bittersweet day. So far, no comment from people connected to the synagogue or family of the victims. But I can tell you, the shooter sat in court and showed virtually no emotion as he changed his plea to a series of violent hate crimes, pleading guilty to all of the charges and accusations against him. John Ernest, wearing a green jailhouse jumpsuit and face mask, could not raise his right hand to be sworn in. That's because he was shackled to a chair. The judge reminding him by changing his plea, he would be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 121 years to life, plus 16 years.
Essentially, you will be in prison the rest of your natural life. Do you understand that?
Yes. Now 22 years old, he admitted guilt to the April 27, 2019 shooting at the Chabad synagogue in Poway. Lori Kay was killed. 3 others, including Rabbi Israel Goldstein, wounded. Just before storming into the synagogue with an assault rifle, the shooter admitted he posted an open letter on the internet saying the planned attack was motivated by his hatred for Jews. He pleaded guilty to counts connected to each victim.
Guilty, 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 guilty.
His attorney did not talk to reporters, so we don't know exactly why he decided to change his plea. We do know the shooter is still facing federal charges that could include the death penalty. The prosecutor today said had those federal charges come first, the shooter could not have been charged in state court.
We discussed the ramifications with the family, and they let us know how they felt about it, and it was important to them that he be held accountable in state court.
The shooter also pleaded guilty to setting an Escondido mosque on fire in March 2019 for the purpose of terrorizing worshipers. 7 people were inside. Mixed feelings today from a community spokesperson.
We can be sort of optimistic that people are being held accountable, but there are a lot of hate crimes such as this that we don't feel justice was achieved.
The shooter's parents were also in court today. They walked away somber and did not talk to reporters. There were also family and friends connected to the synagogue. They also did not talk to reporters. They are likely to share some emotional comments when the shooter is sentenced on September 30th. Live in Poway, Artie Ojeda, NBC 7.
Artie, thanks. Our coverage of this developing story continues online on NBC7.com, where you will find an article on the victims called "These Are the Victims of the Poway Synagogue Shooting."
Today, funeral services were held for Father Joe Carroll, who passed away July 10th at the age of 80.
Father Joe was a beloved fixture of the San Diego community who spent almost 40 years probably, serving the homeless at Father Joe's Village. NBC7's Priya Sridhar was at the services.
St. Rita's Church was at capacity today, full of mourners and members of the community who wanted to celebrate and honor the life of Father Joe, who served this community for decades and touched thousands of lives.
A good priest. That's how Father Joe wanted to be remembered, and the words he requested to be placed on his burial marker.
He was always the first to arrive at the office and the last to leave. For Joe was a good priest and a very dedicated priest.
Today, hundreds gathered at St. Rita's Parish in Lincoln Park to pay their last respects to a man who helped thousands of homeless people in San Diego find shelter and resources for almost 40 years.
A wonderful man of faith who took that faith and taught people to see with the eyes of Christ, particularly those who were marginalized in our society, those who were abandoned, those who were homeless, to see them as brothers and sisters in Christ with all that means.
His friends and fellow priests remembered him as a man who, in addition to helping the less fortunate, was also a fan of baseball, playing cards, and soft drinks.
He had such a determined spirit. So I ask you tonight during the day, I want you to do two things. I want you to drink a Diet Pepsi and say a prayer for Father Joe. That's what he wants.
Now those closest to him ask that his spirit and devotion not be forgotten.
He finished the race, and he fought the good fight for his neighbors. He did what he could do, and now it is up to us to continue to be neighbors helping neighbors. Now, it's a time for Joe to rest from his labors.
Priya Sridhar, NBC 7.
And the San Diego Convention Center will be holding a celebration of life for Father Joe August 10th at 10:30 a.m.
Now to coronavirus coverage you count on. With each day, San Diego County leaders lay out the hard truth. COVID-19 cases continue to rise, but the message remains the same. This is mostly driven by younger people who are unvaccinated. NBC 7's Allie Raffa has more from Pacific Beach, one of the areas of the county that is seeing more cases. Allie?
Monica, as you can see behind me, it's an absolutely gorgeous day out here in Pacific Beach. People are enjoying the sun, the sand, the water. A lot of them are in their 20s, a group with lagging vaccination rates compared to others. So I asked a couple unvaccinated 20-somethings whether they feel more pressured to get the shot now that COVID cases are rising.
I guess it seems, at least in America right now, even being in a hotspot, that COVID is behind us, but it's not.
While cases and hospitalizations are still much lower than they were at the pandemic's peak, the rising number of COVID cases is concerning some health professionals. The county reporting over 400 cases Monday and Sunday and over 500 on Saturday, a daily case level not seen since February. The upward trend mostly driven by unvaccinated people, as well as the more infectious Delta variant and lagging vaccination rates in some areas. The CDC says roughly 42% of Americans ages 18 to 24 are fully vaccinated, well below the rates for older age groups. Some younger unvaccinated people I spoke with today say the threat of the Delta variant has changed their mind, while some wait for full FDA approval before rolling up their sleeve. Others pointing to some of the misinformation being spread about the vaccine.
I'm not vaccinated. I'm kind of glad I didn't because I still know multiple people that got vaccinated that still got sick. So, I mean, I guess we'll see what the future has in store, but for now, I'm a no-go on this. I'm a pretty healthy guy, so I'm going to kind of stick with my immune system and kind of rely on that for now.
And the CDC says the benefits of the shot still far outweigh the risks, so there's a big push to get this age group vaccinated. The University of California and California State University have joined dozens of other universities nationwide in requiring vaccines for students once they return in the fall. Live in Pacific Beach, Allie Raffa, NBC 7.
Thank you, Allie.
Meanwhile, Dr. Anthony Fauci and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul got into a heated argument today during a Senate hearing on the nation's COVID response. Senator Paul accusing Dr. Fauci of lying to Congress about the role the National Institutes of Health played in funding controversial research at a Wuhan lab thought to be part of a possible source of COVID-19. Dr. Fauci had denied in previous Senate testimony that the NIH funded the research. In fact, as the two men talked over one another, it got pretty heated.
The ones the result in SARS-CoV-2 caused the pandemic. We're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it. And you admit the truth. And you implying...
Senator Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond.
And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individuals. I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
And so it went. The World Health Organization sent an international team to China in January to investigate the origin of COVID-19, but the team wasn't able to draw a conclusion based on the evidence they had. President Joe Biden has asked the Chinese government to cooperate.
Governor Gavin Newsom today signed a bill to spend $6 billion over the next 3 years, expanding broadband internet access across the state. The bill prioritizes people in rural and underserved communities because, as the governor put it, the pandemic really showed how badly they suffer from the digital divide in the state. In Tulare County, where Governor Newsom signed the bill, many leaders there and across California reported last year that they saw students huddled at fast fast food restaurants because they couldn't attend virtual classes at home.
We've been talking about the digital divide. We've been talking about the lack of broadband access for a greater part of our lives, some living a little longer. And yet you just sit there and wonder what the hell's wrong with us. We can't get it done. Forgive the language. But it's frustrating because it's so foundational to the world we're living in and the opportunities that present themselves every single day that are not present in every community.
According to the bill, California will have more legislative oversight of broadband connections through the State Department. The legislation will involve creating a broadband czar and a 9-member council.
Well, well, well. Look who showed up back at the studio today after a year and a half. Dagmar Midcap, what are those animals and that rooster doing without you right now with you not being at home? It's nice to see you, my friend.
It is good to see you guys. Mark and Monica, the first thing we did was hug. And yeah, I don't know what those critters back home are doing. I think I saw an armadillo digging under the fence when I left. I don't even know how that got there. No, but, and then I don't know what this is. This looks totally different from my clicker that I'm so used to at home. So here's hoping everything's going to work. It's good to be back in the station, though. It really is to see you guys. All right, we do have to get to the weather, so I think what we're going to do is, go full screen, which means I'm going to do this. Walk over to this giant camera compared to what I was used to at home. That's like really super close compared to what I was used to at home. And figure out how to stand in the right place so you can end up seeing what you need to, which is, and okay, so we're still seeing this giant sweep of circulation, which is part of the monsoon pattern. And again, it's not just about the weather that happens in Southern California. This is really a western half of the U.S. thing. You're still dealing with watches and warnings, excessive heat warnings up into the Pacific Northwest, adding thunderstorms and lightning to a complex of fires that's already running out of control. So for us here, we're still seeing some of the clouds sweeping up from the south and from the southeast in through San Diego County. And I told you that if you were closer to the south and southeast portion of the county today, you would have a better chance for a few showers. Very light chance. It's not much, but it's sweeping up from that area. So I'll be back in just a few moments, because we got to talk about what's going on for you as we head back into this work week. That's nothing compared to what we're looking at as we head into probably your Thursday and Friday. So all the details on that are coming up.
Thanks, Dagmar. Don't leave us.
Well, it's back to school in person tomorrow for thousands of South Bay students. They share what they are least looking forward to, despite enduring virtual learning last year.
Amazon founder Jeff Bezos makes history, blasting off to space with 3 other civilian astronauts, what they say it was like there in zero gravity.